She walked past him every single day, never once looked him in the eye, never said thank you, never even knew his name. He was just the janitor. The invisible man who mopped her floors before sunrise and emptied her trash after midnight. But what she didn't know was that the man pushing that mop cart wasn't just watching her. He was studying her, waiting, planning, because 6 months ago he didn't own a mop, he owned the entire building. And as of last Tuesday, he owned her job, her future, and every secret she thought she'd buried 15 years ago. So the question isn't why would a billionaire pretend to be a janitor? The question is, what did she do to him that was so bad he was willing to spend 6 months on his knees just to watch her world collapse? Her name was Karen Phillips. 48 years old, divorced, no kids. She worked 70-hour weeks as the director of operations for Apex Logistics, one of the fastest-growing supply chain companies in the Midwest. People respected her. Some feared her. Most just stayed out of her way. She had a reputation for being cold, efficient, and ruthless when she needed to be. She didn't do small talk. She didn't do office birthday cakes. She did results. And if you couldn't keep up, you were gone. That's just who she was. She'd clawed her way up from an entry-level analyst to the C-suite in less than 12 years, and she wasn't about to apologize for it. Every morning, she arrived at 7:15. Black coffee, no cream, no sugar. She'd unlock her office, flip on the lights, and get straight to work. The floors were always clean. The trash was always empty. She never questioned it. That was someone else's job. Someone invisible. His name, at least the one on his badge, was Sam Daniels. Quiet guy, maybe mid-50s. Wore the same navy blue uniform every day. Kept his head down. Did his job. No one really knew where he came from. HR had a file on him, but it was thin. Just a work permit, a background check that came back clean, and a start date 6 months ago. He'd been hired through an outside cleaning company, Greenstone Services, which handled janitorial work for half the office buildings downtown. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious, except that if anyone had bothered to dig just a little deeper, they would have found that Greenstone Services was owned by a holding company, and that holding company was owned by another company, and at the very top of that chain sat a man named Nathan Graves. But no one dug, because why would they? He was just the janitor. It started on a Tuesday morning. Karen walked into her office and saw it immediately. A small folded piece of paper sitting in the center of her desk. Not in her inbox. Not taped to her computer. Just there. Placed deliberately. She frowned, picked it up, and unfolded it. 5 words, handwritten in black ink. Do you remember Nathan Graves? Her stomach dropped. The room suddenly felt smaller. Colder. She looked around, but no one was there. Her door had been locked. She always locked it. Her hands were shaking. She hadn't heard that name in 15 years. 15 years. And now it was sitting on her desk like a ghost she thought she'd left behind. She crumpled the paper, threw it in the trash, and tried to forget it. But she couldn't. Because deep down, she knew. Someone knew what she'd done. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. 15 years ago, Karen wasn't a director. She was a junior analyst at a corporate finance firm in Chicago. Ambitious, hungry, willing to do whatever it took to move up. And back then, Nathan Graves was a whistleblower. A senior accountant who had discovered that the firm was cooking the books, hiding losses, and misleading investors. He tried to report it internally, then to the board, then to the SEC. But before his report went public, someone leaked his identity. Someone tipped off the executives. Someone made sure that Nathan Graves looked like the problem, not the solution. His career was destroyed. His reputation was shredded. He lost his home, his savings, his marriage. The press called him a disgruntled employee, a liar, a fraud. And within 6 months, he disappeared. Some said he fled the country. Others said he'd taken his own life. But no one really knew, and no one really cared. Except for one person. The person who had leaked his name to the executives in the first place. Karen Phillips. She told herself it was survival, that she had no choice, that if she didn't play the game, she'd be the one getting destroyed. And maybe that was true. But it didn't change what happened. Nathan Graves lost everything. And Karen Phillips got promoted. She moved to a new city, built a new life, and buried the memory so deep she almost convinced herself it never happened. Almost. But now, 15 years later, someone was digging it back up. And she had no idea who, or why, or what they wanted. Over the next few days, Karen started noticing things. Small things. Her computer would freeze for no reason. Files she hadn't opened in months were suddenly in her recent documents. Her office door, which she always locked, would sometimes be unlocked in the morning. She asked her assistant if anyone had been in her office. The assistant said no. She asked building security to pull the footage. They said the cameras in her hallway had been glitching for weeks. Nothing suspicious, just a technical issue. But Karen didn't believe in coincidences. She started staying late, watching, waiting, and that's when she saw him. Sam, the janitor, walking down the hallway at 9:30 at night with his cart. He stopped outside her office, glanced around, and then pulled out a key card. Her key card. He swiped it. The door unlocked, and he walked inside. Karen's heart was pounding. She stayed hidden behind a corner, watching through the window. He wasn't cleaning. He was standing at her desk, looking at her computer, touching her files. She burst through the door. "What the hell are you doing?" He turned slowly. Calm. No panic. No surprise. "Cleaning, ma'am." "Cleaning? You're going through my desk. I was emptying your trash." "With my keycard?" He didn't answer, just stared at her. And for the first time, she really looked at him. His face, his eyes. There was something familiar, something she couldn't place. "Who are you?" she asked. He smiled. Not warm, not cold, just knowing. "Just the janitor, Miss Phillips." And then he walked past her, left the office, left her standing there, shaking, confused, and terrified, because she knew. Deep down, that wasn't just a janitor. That was someone who knew exactly who she was and what she'd done. The next morning, Karen went straight to HR. She demanded to see Sam Daniels' file. They pulled it up. Everything looked normal. Work history, references, background check. But when she asked to speak to his previous employer, HR said they'd try. 2 days later, they came back with bad news. The cleaning company, Greenstone Services, had no record of a Sam Daniels. In fact, they claimed they'd never sent anyone to Apex Logistics. Their contract had been terminated 3 months ago. Someone else had taken over, but no one knew who. Karen felt the walls closing in. She went to her boss, the CFO, told him everything. The note, the keycard, the fake identity. He listened, nodded, and then said something that made her blood run cold. "Karen, I wouldn't worry about it. We've recently been acquired. New ownership. They're doing a full operational review. Maybe this Sam guy is part of that. Just don't make waves right now, okay?" Acquired? No one had told her. No announcement, no all-staff email. Just acquired. "Who bought us?" she asked. The CFO hesitated. "A private equity group. Very discreet. I don't have all the details yet." 2 weeks later, there was a company-wide meeting. Mandatory. Every manager, every director, every executive. The email went out at 8 a.m. The meeting was at 10. No agenda, no explanation, just All senior staff report to conference room A. Karen walked in last. The room was packed. 30 people, maybe more. All standing, whispering, confused. And then the door at the front of the room opened. A man walked in. Tall, clean-shaven, wearing a tailored suit, expensive watch, confident. He walked to the head of the table and sat down. And that's when Karen saw his face. It was Sam, the janitor. Except he wasn't Sam. The nameplate in front of him read, Nathan Graves, majority shareholder. The room went silent. Karen felt like she couldn't breathe. He looked right at her and smiled. Good morning, everyone. I'm sure you're all wondering who I am. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nathan Graves. As of last month, I own 62% of this company. And over the next few weeks, we're going to be making some changes. He spoke for 20 minutes. Calm, professional, polite. Talked about restructuring, efficiency, new leadership. No one interrupted. No one asked questions. And the entire time, his eyes kept drifting back to Karen. When the meeting ended, people filed out in stunned silence. Karen stayed seated. She couldn't move. Nathan stood up, walked over, and sat down next to her. You look surprised, he said. She couldn't speak. I've been back for a while, he continued. Took some time to rebuild. Made some money. A lot of money, actually. Turns out, when you lose everything, you get really good at starting over. Why? She whispered. Why? What? Why this? Why the janitor act? Why buy the company? He leaned back, studied her. Because I wanted you to see me, every single day. I wanted to be invisible, just like I was 15 years ago when you destroyed my life. I wanted to watch you, see if you even remembered, see if you felt anything. Nathan, save it, he said. I'm not here for an apology. I'm here to offer you a choice. He slid a folder across the table. She opened it. It was a resignation letter, pre-written. You can sign that, leave quietly, and I'll make sure no one ever knows what you did. Or, he paused. You can fight, go public, try to defend yourself, and I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who Karen Phillips really is. She looked at him, tears in her eyes. I was young. I was scared. So was I, he said. But I didn't ruin someone's life to save my own. She signed the letter. 3 days later, Karen Phillips was gone. No farewell email. No goodbye party. Just gone. People asked questions for a while, but then they moved on. That's what people do. 6 months later, Karen tried to start a consulting business. She had the experience, the resume, the connections, but every door she knocked on seemed to close before she even got inside. Clients ghosted her. Investors passed. Opportunities vanished. She didn't understand why. Until one day, she got a call from an old colleague. Karen, I don't know what happened, but your name's on some kind of list. People are being told not to work with you. I don't know who's behind it, but it's real. She knew. Nathan didn't have to destroy her publicly. He just had to make sure she never succeeded again. Quietly. Professionally. Invisibly. Just like he'd been for 6 months. And just like that, her career was over. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. So here's the question. Was this justice, or was it revenge? Nathan Graves spent 15 years rebuilding his life. He didn't just survive, he thrived. He became more successful than anyone who tried to bury him. And when he finally had the power, he didn't use it to hurt Karen. Not directly. He just made sure she felt what he felt. Invisible. Powerless. Erased. Some people say he went too far, that 2 wrongs don't make a right. Others say Karen got exactly what she deserved. that she made a choice 15 years ago. And choices have consequences. But what do you think? If someone destroyed your life, your reputation, your future, would you forgive them? Or would you spend 6 months mopping their floors just to watch them realize who you really were? And if you were Karen, could you live with what you did? Or would the guilt eat you alive? Nathan Graves disappeared again after that. Some say he sold his stake in the company and moved overseas. Others say he's still out there, watching, waiting, building his next move. But one thing's for sure. He proved that revenge doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes, the quietest moves are the most devastating. And sometimes, the person you ignore today might be the person who owns your tomorrow. So the next time you walk past someone you think doesn't matter, ask yourself, do you really know who they are? Because Karen Phillips thought she did, and it cost her everything. If you made it this far, drop a comment and let us know. Do you think Nathan was right? Or did he take it too far? Would you have done the same thing? And if this story shocked you, wait until you hear about the man who faked his own death and came back to find his wife had remarried and spent all his money. That one's even crazier. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. We'll see you in the next one.